So, I think one of the biggest struggles that we face as Christians is the suffering of this world. There's so many terrible things going on around us all the time, and not being able to do anything about it. And I think what this leads to is often a feeling like God doesn't care. He doesn't care about these things. And I know that that's one of the greatest struggles we all face. I do, and I know you do too. And so we read in John chapter 11 that when Jesus discovered that Lazarus was sick, he said, "This sickness is not to end in death, but for the glory of God, so that the Son of Man may be glorified by it." So right off the back, we have a message that this horrible suffering, which is one of Jesus's friends, was also the disciples, loved Lazarus. He was like one of their best friends, and he was dying. And Jesus declares first that there's a reason for this, and that reason is his glory. It's the same as with the blind man at Jericho. They said, I think it was at Jericho, maybe it wasn't, but Jesus declared that this was for his glory, that in the end all suffering is for his glory. So that's an important thing to remember. And then Jesus says when he heard that he was sick, he then stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. That's just so weird. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that if we hear that our friend is sick and dying, we should just wait for them to die without going to visit them. That's not what I'm saying here. But there is a message here that Jesus stayed 2 days, and I'm sure he slept and he wasn't really up all night worrying. And that is an important thing. Jesus was calm in the midst of that storm too. This was a different storm. His best friend was dying, but he was calm, and he even waited for 2 days while his friend was dying. So why did he do this? Because two reasons. He knew that it would result in his glory, and number two, he knew that Lazarus was going to be resurrected and everything was going to be okay. And I think that's an important lesson here, is that we learn that although bad things are happening, that it's going to be okay, and this is all working for good. It says in Romans 8:28, it says this, "And we know that God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose." Amen. Yeah, so, although the bad things are happening, we need to just trust God. It's a storm. It's just like the storm on the Sea of Galilee that the disciples were in and Jesus was asleep, or when Jesus was walking on the water. Jesus was like, "Man, calm down. It's okay. Be at peace." Remember what it says in Psalm 46:10, "Be still and know that I'm God." Just be still. That doesn't mean that we should always be like worried, that we should just be apathetic, that we should just be like, "Oh, it's okay, children are suffering." We should all be filled with compassion and love for them, and we should try to help them. But inside, emotionally, that's what God's talking about. Emotionally, we should be at peace. We should be able to sleep every night, and we should, by knowing that he is good and that his promises are good, that one day this will all be for his glory. And those children, you know what, they're starving, we'll probably see them in heaven. And, that's an amazing thing. So be at peace. One day God is going to bring all things for good, and everything will make sense on that day. So let us be at peace always and be filled with his love and joy. Amen.